Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. Won't you share with a friend or two? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. You. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. You. Good morning. Good morning to you and many more. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Daring Dialogues. Typically, I am not on my Black Table Talk page until Tuesday, but I have a few more cameras with me today, so I am also broadcasting live on my Black Table Talk page. I am also on IG at Daring Dialogues, and um, I'm also on YouTube on our Life Nation page. So that being said, let me see, because I need to probably change my glasses out so you guys don't think I'm trying to be cool modi up here. All right, let me change out my glasses so you all can see my eyeballs. Somebody said to me they don't trust people doing interviews with shades on. All right, there we go. There we go. So you can clearly see my eyes. It is Monday Motivation. I hope everybody had a great and wonderful Sacred Sunday. I hope you had an opportunity to do something for yourself. And for my Monday motivations, because I'm normally not in my Black Table Talk space, what we normally do is we read something of inspiration. I will share with you some people of inspiration, which we're going to look at 6 of them today. And then today, because it is Veterans Day, I do want to wish those who have served and are serving um, a happy day. Oh, okay. Yeah, I am not working today. I made sure that my clients were all taken care of through the weekend so that I could have this day to sort of relax a little bit and do some inner work and some creative work. Hopefully, I'm going to be painting a little bit later today because, as most of you all know, Black women are at this point minding our business, creating, resting, uh, getting into our bag, as they say, and staying out of the fray. We're trying to stay out of the fray. Some of y'all keep trying to drag us into the fray, but we trying to stay out of the fray. So I'll talk a little bit about veterans in a moment, but I want to start off with our motivation for today. And this is coming from Daily Motivations for African American Success by Dennis Kimbrough. If you're familiar with Dennis Kimbrough's work, he has another book called Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. Highly recommend it if you are looking at some wisdom, some time-tested wisdom. All right. So today's topic is Do It Now. Ethel Waters, who was a singer, dancer, and actress, said this: many people know how to criticize, but few know how to praise. And I think that to be true. I noticed that on last night. I had a lot of people coming into my Black owned spaces, either telling me how to run my space, telling me what I should be sharing, um, just a whole lot of suggestions. And my suggestion right back is please go make the page that you enjoy. Either go make the page you enjoy or go visit the page that you enjoy. There are millions, literally millions of pages on social media platforms. There's almost literally something for everybody. You can type it into the search bar. You can say, I'm looking for, a group of Black women who want to talk about locks. And you'll find pages just specifically on that subject. You'll even find groups on it. And so I don't understand. I don't understand why people who come to your space and know that what you are sharing is not anything they're interested in, and they're in your comment section complaining. Don't complain, create. Somebody type that down. Don't complain, create. Listen, my ethos has always been this. If I don't see it and I want it, I'm going to find a way to create it. Maybe that's because I'm an artist. I don't know. But I feel like if you got a soul, you're an artist. You just maybe have not figured out what your particular creative thing is yet. But if you have a soul, then you are an artist. Now, I don't know if somebody never told you that before, but here it goes. If you have a soul, you are an artist. Maybe your art is culinary. Maybe your art, like mine, is visual or performance art. Maybe your art is talking to people and counseling them. And people come away from you feeling amazing, but you have an art to yourself. So I would encourage you to get to it. Figure out what it is. Because if you don't see it and you have a passion for it, you probably should be looking at creating it. So again, nugget for today, one nugget for today. We got more coming. Don't complain, create. One more time. Don't complain, create. I'm not going to complain about it. If I don't see it, I'm going to figure out what I need to do to create it. Okay? One reason why Black Table Talk came to be is because I said I see a lot of ratchet content about Black people, but I don't see a whole lot of content really celebrating us, really just dealing with everyday Black life, really just celebrating everyday people. There are a lot of celebrity pages. If you notice on this page, I'm not chasing people for no celebrity nothing or celebrity interviews. That's great. That's wonderful. But that's not what my page is about. I will share some things, right? But if you notice, my page is about everyday Black life. That's it. Showing love to us, what we're doing in business, what we're doing in the community, how we're encouraging each other, right? How we're loving on each other. And so I didn't really see a whole lot of pages like that when I first started. So I created one. That's it. That's it. And then I made up my mind. I said, listen, I don't want this page to turn into a tool to be manipulated by other entities. So my commitment was, I'm going to continue to run this page in a way that is not centered around sponsorships and ads. It's regular, everyday people supporting what I do on these pages. That's it. Viewer support, listener support through the podcast, creatives support. But that's what it is. I don't have any ads, sponsorships, none of that stuff. I'm not speaking to you because a brand told me to show you a product. None of that. It's just basic love for humanity and love for Black people, particularly Black America and the diaspora. That's it. Okay? So let's get back to this word of the day. And good morning to those of you. I noticed that my YouTube audience, a lot of you are from India. So welcome. Welcome, welcome. All right. The word says here, Why do we find it so much easier to compliment the dead than the living? That's a good question. At funerals, the friends and family members gathered cannot say enough about the deceased. During life, however, those qualities that now draw praise usually went unnoticed or unspoken. Good morning. On her deathbed, after a lifetime of love and devotion to others, and this happens to be somebody we're going to talk about today, and she's also behind me in that lovely painting. On her deathbed, after a lifetime of love and devotion to others, Ida B. Wells, a journalist and social activist of her day, left this inspiring message. Loving praise is the best medicine. Don't wait too late. Be generous with kindness, but cautious with criticism. Life is as sacred as death. It's appropriate to remember a departed one fondly, but it's even better to say what we have to say while the person can still hear us, while the person can still receive our flowers. People don't become better or more deserving in death than they were in life. Ooh, let me say that again. People don't become better or more deserving in death than they were in life. Living, not dying, is what makes us praiseworthy. It is no small thing to fall in love, to raise a family, to survive, and to strive to assist others, to live each day with all its mundane routines as well as we can. We need to say all those loving words and express all those loving thoughts on this side of death. The dead are beyond the daily struggle and thus beyond any need of encouragement. It is we, the living, who must depend on each other for mutual support and comfort. If we have a word of appreciation to offer, let us say it now. So think about this. What is your commitment today? The author suggests this one here. Today, I will share my thoughts of love and respect before it's too late. And so I want to offer my respect right now to those of you who are veterans, those of you who have given your service to this country to defend our enemies, both foreign and domestic. We're going to need some of y'all to step it up for the next 4 years. I've talked to some people, some of my friends who have some real concerns around that. But let me start out by saying this. I come from a family that is, let me see, I'm trying to count. 1, 2, 3, 4 generations deep when it comes to the military. My great uncle earned a Purple Heart, and that Purple Heart has been passed down in generations to my cousin, who has earned several military honors himself. But yeah, I have a brother that has served in the Army. I have several uncles who have served in the Army. My grandfather was a Marine. So I have a deep appreciation. My father was in the military, but that's a whole other story because he wanted to get out. But I have a great appreciation for people who serve in our military. Being able to sit down with some of them and listen to their experiences, obviously the ones they're willing to share that's not classified. Listening to their experience and having them to share what their experience was in other countries, having them to talk to me about geopolitics from the lens of someone who's been in war over land or resources or negotiations, right? I don't see it as an easy task. I know sometimes people think that, if you go to the military, it's because you couldn't, quote unquote, do anything else with your life. But there are people who have a desire to serve this country in that capacity, and they had other choices. So sometimes we look at people who serve in the military, and sometimes people say, oh, you didn't have anything else to do. It's like, no, that's not how that works. um, but we do understand that there are nuances to it. And so for those who have served honorably, um, those who have been there for the right reasons, we honor your service. All right, we honor your service. um, I remember my father, because he passed away now, but my father and I were having a conversation about um, long-term plans of the military and long-term goals of the military. And this was back in like 2009. And my father my father said to me, there are two people that is going to give the US a real problem and a real run for their money, and they're going to be something to contend with. And I don't know why he told me that, but we were just talking about military and practices and stuff like that. And my father said to me, he said, there are two people that the US is going to continue to be relentless against until they eliminate them as sort of a threat. And he said that was Gaddafi and Osama bin Laden. And again, I don't know why my dad told me that, but my dad did not live to see what eventually happened with those two persons. But those are the kind of conversations that my father would have with me, that like I said, my other relatives who had been in the military, they would talk to me about what was happening outside of the lens of America, what was happening to people outside of the lens of the United States. And so I really appreciated them sharing their thoughts. And if you do get a chance, or if you have somebody in your family that's in the military, sit down and talk with them about what has been their experience beyond saying thank you for your service, right? Ask them if they're okay. We have a lot of veterans right now who are dealing with PTSD, who are dealing with long-term injuries and things of that nature. So really reach out to those people, especially those that that are close to you. Reach out to them and have that conversation with them. Ask them how they are really doing today. All right, I'm going to move on to 6 inspirational women. Yeah, because since Black women has been on everybody's mind, everybody's mind lately, let's talk about some of them. Ida B. Wells, born July 16th, 1862, and she passed away March 25th, 1931. Ida B. Wells is one of my sheroes. She's an iconic figure, not just for her work that she did in journalism, but Ida B. Wells was initially an educator. But because of the things that were happening in education at the time, she left that position and she went on to do journalism, investigative journalism. And then she got in trouble with that because she started investigating all of the unalivings of people in the South. And so she has several books out. Some of them are in reprint now. You can probably find them. I would definitely urge you to get them before they're banned and they start removing them from sites. But her work for investigative journalism, turning the light on what was happening to people in the South, really doing the data points and study to realize that a lot of the things that these people were being accused of was not true, that a lot of the people that were being unalived during that time were actually business owners, and people wanted their businesses. So that was one way to remove them, or they were landowners and people wanted their land. So that was one way to remove them. And it wasn't just them, maybe unaliving the father, but sometimes it would be the father, the mother, the sons. It would be a whole family that would be taken out because these people were stealing land. You'll find that in her work. She also, her and her husband opened up an agency in Chicago, and she was responsible for helping lots of Black men resettle their lives when they went up north through the Great Migration. So I know a lot of people focus on what she did with anti-lynching, but she also did community organizing through her own program of helping Black men to resettle in the North, particularly in Chicago. I would encourage you to study her life a little bit more, go a little bit in depth. I would love, 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 love to see a full feature film on the life of Ida B. Wells. She lived an incredible and amazing life. She wasn't just an activist, she was a mother, she was a caretaker to her siblings, and she was a wife, she was an entrepreneur. So much richness in her life. All right, let me stop because I could probably go a little bit more, but I'm going to stop because I got 5 other women. Assata Shakur, July 16th, 1947 to the present. And I didn't even read the back of this card. Let me come back. Civil rights leader, feminist, crusader for justice, formerly enslaved. She became an activist after being forcibly removed from a train in 1884 because she refused to leave her first class seat and moved to the back. Now, a lot of people look at Rosa Parks as being the first one to sort of initiate that, but no, it was Ida B. Wells before Claudette Colvin as well. She used her platform as a journalist to lead an anti-lynching crusade in the United States in the 1890s. She formed the National Association of Colored Women in 1896 and later co-founded the NAACP. She called for President Woodrow Wilson to put an end to discriminatory hiring practices for government jobs. She created the first African-American kindergarten in her area. She fought for women's right to vote and tried to run for Senate. She raised awareness of the oppression of women and African Americans throughout the U.S. and internationally. Ida B. Wells, give her all the flowers, give her all the statues, give her all the monuments. She needs one in D.C. All right. Now, Assata Shakur, civil rights activist and member of the Black Panther Party, regarded as a hero for her protests against racism and her role in the 1970s Black Liberation Army. Community advocate who helped the poor by organizing a free breakfast program and a health clinic. Those programs then got co-opted by our government. And so again, where is the Black Panther Party's statues and monuments for helping the government figure out what to do with children with free lunch programs? Where's their statue? Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Community advocate who helped the poor by organizing, became the first woman to be placed on the FBI's most wanted list after escaping to Cuba from prison, where she was serving a life sentence for the 1973 unaliving of a police officer. Many people believe Shakur to be a political champion who is innocent of the criminal accusations against her. Josephine Baker, entertainer and French resistance activist. Make sure everybody can see this card. I'm showing 3 cameras, so please bear with me. She started her dancing career locally, where she quickly became the highest paid chorus girl in vaudeville, the first Black person to become a world-class dancer and star in a major motion picture. Renounced her U.S. citizenship in 1937 after marrying a Frenchman, aided the French resistance during World War II, became close friends with Grace Kelly after a racial incident at the Sherman Billingsley Stork Club in Manhattan. Civil rights movement contributor who refused to perform for segregated crowds and spoke at the March on Washington by the side of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Did you hear that? She refused to perform for segregated crowds. She didn't say, oh, well, I'm going to take the money and go ahead and go perform, even though I know that they're mistreating my people. No, she refused to perform for segregated crowds. Learn. All right. Moving right along, Henrietta Lacks, born August 1st, 1920, passed away October 4th, 1951. If you are getting any sort of medical treatment, almost all of them in the experimental factor, you need to thank a Black woman. Her name is Henrietta Lacks. So for all the people who can't seem to get it together, This is the black woman you should probably be thanking. You getting any kind of research treatments done, thank this black woman. Yep. She deserves all the flowers, all the kudos, all the kudos. She's helping, her cells are helping people worldwide. And some of you have probably never heard of her, especially if you're over in India. You might not have heard of her. All right. So let's learn a little bit. She's an African American woman whose cancer cell culture was used to create one of the most important cell lines in cancer research in 1951. Anybody who is a survivor of cancer, you should be thanking this black woman. I hope I ain't step on nobody's toes. If anybody should have a statue in front of their building for Henrietta Lacks, it should be the American Cancer Association's research, somebody. There should be buildings named after her. Oh yeah, that's right. John Hopkins just, I think, dedicated one to her recently. She was diagnosed with cervical cancer in 1950 after giving birth to her 5th child at the age of 30. During treatment at Johns Hopkins, 2 cervical samples were taken from her without her knowledge or permission and were used to create the HeLa cell line. Lax cells were first the cells observed that could be divided multiple times without dying. Now, how many more Henrietta Lacks are out here? They just don't know it. This is just the one they know. All right. Her cells were the first cells observed that could be divided multiple times without dying. As a result, they were used in many medical experiments taken from her without her consent. So when people say they don't understand why we have people running around talking about your body, my choices, that statement is as American as apple pie. They took her cells without her consent, okay? The cells were the first to be successfully cloned and have been used to develop a vaccination for polio. I think everybody in America has had to have the polio vaccination. All of y'all, all of us should be thanking a black woman. You don't want that vaccination? Okay. Used to develop and research cancer. Used to research AIDS. Used to research virology in general, and used to research sensitivity to various products. Thank this black woman named Henrietta Lacks. And when you fix your mouth to talk about black women, just understand this one right here has done so much for American medical research that you probably should not fix your mouth to say something sideways about a black woman. I'm just saying. Lacks was given a posthumous honorary doctorate in public service in 2011 and inducted into the Maryland Women's Hall of Fame in 2014. I got 2 more. Bell Hooks, September 25th to 1952, and she has passed away. But at the time of this card, she was still living. Writer, educator, social critic, and essayist. We'll be back reading her work on tomorrow. Her works and passion for solving the problem of racism in the United States were influenced by her experience growing up in segregated schools. She began writing, reciting, and publishing poetry early under her real name, Gloria Jean Watkins. She took on the pen name Bell Hooks after her grandmother, Belle Blair Hooks, in the 70s to move away from writing poetry and into a focus on critical essays on systems of domination. She published her first book, Ain't I a Woman, which was a feminist discussion of racism and sexism. Taught at Yale and several other colleges after earning a doctorate in English literature in the 70s. She continues to be a voice for educational reform and the ability of students to engage in rigorous study and to think critically. Yes, we love critical thinking over here. And finally for today, Sojourner Truth, who is actually coming up on a birthday. And I had a dream about Sojourner. I can't remember everything about the dream, but when I looked her up and I saw she was a November baby, and she was born a day before me, I was like, yes, I appreciate this. So I got to do a little bit more digging on Sojourner. I've done a lot of digging on Harriet. Sojourner was an abolitionist and civil rights advocate. She escaped enslavement in New York in 1827, and she successfully sued for the return of her 5-year-old son with the help of an abolitionist family. She changed her name from Isabella Born Free to Sojourner Truth after becoming a charismatic religious orator giving speeches about the evils of enslavement. Yeah, because back then they were actually listening to black women. Imagine that. She became nationally recognized after publishing an autobiography about her life. She worked alongside Frederick Douglass, but separated from his cause because he believed that men's rights outweighed women's suffrage. Freddie boy, we need to have a talk. She assisted in helping the enslaved escape to freedom in the North and organizing black troops and supplies for the Union Army. Oh, so she was about that business and about that life. Got it. Aided former enslaved persons to find jobs and rebuild their lives through her work with the Freedmen's Bureau. I'm telling you, these black women were amazing. People often use the term Renaissance to describe people who are active and involved in various areas of study and concentrations. But these were some Renaissance women. If it could be done, if it was involving the community in black life, they were getting it done. So when we look at these women, and that's just a few, if you want the whole volume of these and you want to just encourage yourself every single day, you can pick these up at urbanintellectuals.com. They have several volumes. This is just their volume on women around the world. But if you just want to encourage yourself every day, I mean, come on. When we look at the record shows me I need to be up and about and out and doing. That's what the record shows me. We stand on the shoulders of giants. We have an amazing cloud of witnesses in black women, black men, but today we're talking about black women. We have an amazing cloud of witnesses that we can pull from and be inspired by and understand that they had so many obstacles in front of them, but yet they were still doing the work. They were still getting the work done because something had to be pushing them forward other than just, I woke up this morning. Yeah, they were getting the work done. They were pressing in on not just making their lives better, but they were pressing in on making black lives better. And in turn, everybody was benefiting from some of the things in the programs that was coming out of what they did, the work that they did. So I don't know. It seems counterproductive. It seems like you would be working backwards when you are trying to hinder black women. I'm just saying. Why do that? Because they've been about making black life better. And as a result, making life in general better for everybody. Okay. I think that's it. What else do I want to say? Oh, please take care of your environment. I'm just turning the corner, just turning the corner just a little bit. Please take care of your environment. Please take care of your environment. I was walking today back in my community, and I saw these two trees in my yard. I pass them all the time. But today I went over to the trees and I started looking at them, really looking at them and examining them. I started looking at the bark of the tree, and I looked up some things just to try to see if I could tell what a healthy bark looks like. I started looking at how some of my trees were, how they were growing some moss on one side of the tree. But I want to just encourage you to just stop, look at your environment, take care of your environment, be a little bit more specific in looking at things in your environment, because I often look at flowers. I love flowers. I often look at flowers, stop and stare, take pictures. If I got some water in my car, sometimes I will pull my water bottle out and water flowers. But I hadn't really been doing that with trees. But now I think I'm going to look a little bit more into making sure that the trees in my surroundings are better taken care of. When we look at what's happening in our society with our environment, I think it's important for us to step up our own individual efforts to see what can be done. And I know in my community, there's been a lot of sawing on trees, and I don't like it. And so I just want to make sure that they're not trying to chop down stuff that they don't need to be chopping down. Now, I understand getting rid of dead weight on trees and trimming the dead branches and that kind of stuff. But when I see people just taking a saw and just lopping off limbs, that concerns me, because I feel like you're not taking the time to actually look at the health of the tree. So I did some of that today. I actually looked at the health of my trees, and I named one of them. Her name is Trinisha. So the next time that I go outside, I'm going to greet her by name and see what happens. I also have some plants, of course, inside my home that I've been doing a better job of watering. I'm trying to take care of a cactus right now, and that has been interesting. It had bloomed one time over the summer, and it has not bloomed again, but I am still taking care of it. So as I sign off today from Black Table Talk, because I am going to keep talking, I'm going to keep talking on Instagram. So if you want to join me there for the talk back, if you want to be in conversation with me live, you can go to Instagram. My Instagram handle is @DaringDialogues. If you want to come on camera, all you have to do over there is press the camera button, I think, and it will allow you to be cued in to come live. All right. If you're on YouTube, same thing. If you want to hop over to Instagram @DaringDialogues, we are there. We're going to be talking back over there. So if you want to be in conversation over there, you want to talk to me face to face rather than just listen to me through the screen, you can come over to Instagram. All right. I hope again that you have a great and wonderful day. Treat yourself sacred. Try to do something for yourself today, even if it's just 5-10 minutes where you're taking time for yourself and honoring your own soul. All right. Again, we'll be back on tomorrow with Teachable Tuesday. We'll be in Bell Hook's book on Black People. Rock My Soul is the title of the book. So you can join us then if I don't see you on IG. Remember, light is the most daring opposition to darkness, so continue to go out and be light. Be well, and most importantly, be light.